It's New Year's Eve. I'm Kim and welcome back to Golden Acres. Today I'm going to do a homestead tour with you guys, and I think I'm going to do another one here in the next couple days because today it is 55 as a high up in northern Missouri. Tomorrow is a high of like 20 to 25. They've been changing it, so I'm not exactly sure. And predicted to get 6 to 8 inches of snow. So it's very much truly a Midwest weekend. So we'll go back here. One of the first projects that we did this time around, ooh, it's slick, is we got this back area for the lean-to cleaned up. So it doesn't necessarily, this area doesn't look like it was just stacked sticks. Same here. But we got wood for my wood stove, which will do a video on. It's just been too warm to run it because it gets, on a cold day, the kitchen can become 80 degrees. And on a warm day, I don't know when it gets to. So we bought wood for the wood stove. These will be regular fire pit. And then this lean-to we had knocked part down, we just hadn't got it cleaned up yet, and it fell the rest of the way off in that major storm we had. My van is now parked inside, and we just got that scooped out. I literally did not realize that this full thing had a concrete floor. That's how much, I had no idea this was concrete. You can see how dusty it is over here. Like, I just thought it was a dirt floor. And the concrete is in awesome shape. So this is gonna be a decent little garage for now. It definitely needs repair. You can see the holes. And of course the other side of there is where I call the garden shed, which is just full of junk from the previous owners. So that's the next thing to clean out. Come over here. We have new fencing, new fence post, and corner post. The fence will be up sometime here soon. Andrew has actually been cleaning out more junk from the pasture. They actually have horses out here, and I was like, I don't know how their horses didn't hurt themselves. So that's where he's been pulling up junk from today. We have new corner post, new T-post. This used to be that white fence, but it needed replaced because it was fallen, and we're doing a T-post fence. You can see all the stuff we've been pulling out, and there's our pile of junk. We're over here. We'll come inside the greenhouse. I harvested that little broccoli. It's currently in our fridge, and we're gonna buy more broccoli to cook with it. But I'm very proud of it. I'm gonna leave it in a big chunk so I know which one it is when I cook it. And the rest of these, I mean, it's supposed to get below the temperature that broccoli survives at. So I actually think I'm gonna leave these guys for now, because I can go throw them in the pasture later. Or actually, I should create a compost pile. I don't know if I have the gumption for it before these need cleaned out. But I'll leave the broccoli, and when I come out in the next couple days to do another tour because of the snow, I'll show you guys what the frost does to these plants in the greenhouse. In the process of cleaning up, we have been stacking the tin that we find or that we take off of things, placing it here. Some of it will be going up on these walls, and we'll be getting leftovers from my in-laws. They are building a barnuminium with an airplane hangar. So we've got boards that have been taken apart on these. Slow process of getting those apart. And then the other things, this barn has gotten a lot of work done on it. So Andrew put this corner tin back up. He actually found it. This is the original corner tin. It was laying in the grass. So somebody rounded this corner and took out the post and took off the tin. These doors, it is an old grain barn. So these doors are exactly the opposite of the other doors on the other side. We have them screwed shut because we're using it as a storage area for now. And then the T-post, because it doesn't have the bottom bar holding it closed, so when the wind picks up, it swings the bar off, and that's what causes it to come off its runners up top. We have it with T-posts for now until we can get new runner bars put in. And then you saw this concrete pad get cleaned off. Let's say hi. So we're leaving this pad pretty clear. And then we've cleaned off the next one. So our other trailer's over here. This one's in a little rougher shape. But we've got a trailer. And then we got this picked up here recently. And it is from my sister-in-law. She had some trees taken down that are starting to die. And she has a couple more. But these were the ones that were close to the house. Our next pad to clean off is this one, and it is in rougher shape. So you can see the chunks missing from here. We're assuming those are the ones stacked right here. And then there's more wood piles there. So we'll see how that one goes. We haven't done much here, but we have done some inside. So go over here. In this area, we have a wood stove. So it's a dusty shop, right? Chimney. Well, in here, the project we had going on was Andrew welded this. He welded it, it's cast. Usually doesn't weld very well, but he did something, and I'm not an expert at welding, so I'm not going to explain this great. But he had to make a couple more passes than you would typically do with a weld, and he believes that warmed the cast up enough to get a decent weld for this foot. It's not something that you would do for much of anything else, because cast you have to, from what has been explained to me, heat it up completely and then weld it. So it's not necessarily an easy process. It's a very hot process. But now he has his wood stove in here, ready to work. And we're getting to the temperature, or that is going to become necessary. So it needs cleaned out, which all of the wood stoves need cleaned out that are on the property. But now he has a workshop that'll be warm. Our next project on this building is to replace these two doors. We screwed them shut. Yep. So now I'll take you over here. Those are the major projects we have been working on. I think we also need to get these doors put back on. I think that's a project for later today, so I might put a little bit of that up on this video at the end. Train. If you don't know, we live near a train track, so we hear trains quite a bit. I simply record through them because it happens enough, and the train schedule is pretty sporadic, so it's hard to plan around. We've noticed a couple morning trains that seem to have some kind of schedule, but nothing so consistent that you can guarantee it. So over here in the garden, you've seen in an earlier video that this month we started getting the garden prepped and planned out. So we have, see the train. We have this where this is plowed up. We still haven't gotten the plastic up because I got a mastitis infection. So leaning over was not a thing I was going to end up doing. And now that the ground is thawing, it was frozen, but I won't get all of this out before it freezes. So that'll probably be in the spring when it actually gets done, unfortunately. I prefer to get it done out faster, but it's not going to happen. Over here will be raised beds. In the description, I will add the link to when I planned this out. Come here. This is Lizzie. They don't necessarily like to come up and be on camera a whole awful lot. She is a Kelpie Shepherd Airedale mix. We got her from a guy who breeds the Kelpie Shepherds. Their daughter had an Airedale as the family pet. What are you doing, Liz? What are you doing? And then they accidentally had mixed breed puppies. But honestly, if it wasn't for I have no passion for breeding dogs, I would breed more Lizzies. She is an awesome mix. When we lose these guys, we think we want another Kelpie as our farm dog. The Kelpies were bred to herd. They're an Australian. They look like small Australian. They look like small German Shepherds, but they're an Australian breed, and they aren't too different from the Australian Shepherd in their temperament. We picked her up. Actually, we found her on Christmas Eve online. So she broke her leg when she was 7 weeks old because they had trained her siblings to be herding dogs. And she jumped out of the back of a moving truck at 7 weeks old, broke her leg, had to be in the house for 8 weeks in a kennel. She loves to run, but of course she wasn't sold as a herding dog anymore, and the owners kept her until they could find someone who would treat her kind of as a family pet, but also treat her somewhat as a farm dog. Because she hates being inside because of the experience of being in the kennel. She hates being kenneled. So she needs ample time and room to run. We got her when we lived on 10 acres, and she pretty well had the whole 10 acres with our other dog, Thea, who is a hunting breed and that way somewhere. So we got her when we told them, like, we're getting Lizzie because we felt Thea needed a companion because we were about 20 weeks pregnant when we picked her up with our first. And I was like, well, the dogs used to be walking her 3 times a day because when we got our first dog, Thea, we lived in town, so I walked her several times a day. And it has... So we walked her several times a day. And then with having a baby, I was like, I'm going to have less time. So the dog needs a friend. And that's what Lizzie was for her. And the breeder was so happy with that answer. Like, you're getting a dog to keep another dog entertained and to be in a family where she can, really, if she wanted to, she could come inside. They used to a little bit. They don't like it anymore. There's too many squirrels. They miss the squirrels or the moles. She's looking for moles right now because she started digging again. There's lots of moles out here. They hate moles. My dad loves it because if he has a mole problem, he just asks me to bring my dogs over, and it's gone. 3 days. Done. No more moles. We have so many moles out here that they have been catching one twice a week to 3 times a week, on 30 acres since July. There's so many moles out here. Oh, there's Thea with a cow bone. There's a cow graveyard out there. So she had to go out and get a cow bone. Thea, what are you doing? Oh, nope, that's a deer leg. Where'd you get a deer leg? Dogs never cease to amaze me. Right. This building, some of that tin that you saw earlier, we're going to put tin on that roof. It's got a pretty big hole. I'll show you from the inside. So here's the inside of this cabin. It did not predate the house. So this is... 86 is when the house was built, so late 80s, early 90s when this was built. And there's a decent hole in the roof there. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to use this area for yet. We just know we're not going to get rid of it. And if we can save it, because I know at one time, I'm pretty sure I saw some carpenter ants over here. If we can get it cleaned up and get the ants out, we are going to save this. If we can't, then obviously we're not going to keep a place that's going to cause carpenter ants to move into the house. Alright, so I'm going to leave off here. This poor tree is coming down after we've had a good few days of freezing, because this is a place where there are ants. If you come down here, you can see the ant damage, and it's on the other side of the tree as well. So we will be doing a video on how we're going to take this tree down. We're going to take it down ourselves. Hi, girl. Are you get the cat today? Thanks. Yeah, my mom made me this hat, so it smells like my mom's house. Girl. So we'll make a video on taking this tree down. There'll be several parts. Part of it will involve taking these branches branches down, and the ones that are over any porch. So we'll take those down first. But I'll show you guys that. Make sure you stay safe when you're taking down trees. If it's in a sketchy place and you're not comfortable, hire it out. There's a lot of places where it's cheaper to just drop it and then you can chop it up yourself. Since several of us have taken trees down before, we took down several hollow trees at my house growing up. Now these weren't in an area that they were going to hurt the house either, but they were huge. There was barely anything left of them. They were hollow like crazy, and it was like when we went and pulled them out to the field to burn them in the fall after things had been plowed, it was like a chimney, and like the branches up high were hollow, and smoke and flames were like billowing out of them. It was crazy. So of course we roasted marshmallows over it. So we took several of those down. So my dad has experience with that. Andrew has experience with that. My father-in-law has experience with that. So I think all the guys are going to come over and they're going to take this down. Most of it we're going to burn right away. There's ants in it. They'll be dormant. We should hopefully be able to kill them all. Then I will treat the stump. We'll drill holes in it and we will put ant bait down in them, which is borax and sugar. That way we can make sure the dogs don't get it. We'll, drill deep into them and put some stuff down in there in the spring to make sure everything's gone. And that should really take care of that. So, and then our next videos, I know in January, like I said, I want to do another tour of the snow. So we'll do that. I did say that I was going to try to get down to the other part of the pasture today, but I don't think that's going to happen. The frost came out this morning because I got warm. Again, it was in the 30s. It's in the 50s today. And now it's going to be back in the 20s tomorrow. So things are very, very soupy. I don't want to get the Toro stuck. So we'll wait on that. And maybe if it's frozen, we'll go down. Granted, if I have 6 inches of snow, I don't think I'll make it in the Toro. It's a Workman, but it still doesn't have like a very deep axle. And then picking up wind. And then I will do on January kind of the plans for this year, resolutions. We'll talk about that tomorrow too. And then we'll get a little bit more into what seeds I'm going to start. We'll do a full video on that later. And then what process I'm going to use to start them. And that'll be just sort of a planning video. I won't really start seeds until the end of February, beginning of March. And I have to order a few things still. January I'll also bring in wood stove videos where I'm gonna cook on my wood stove and cook in my wood stove. So there'll be breads and soups and all kinds of things over the winter that I'll be doing, which should be lots of fun. And then we will get started with spring prep after that, which hopefully means we're starting to run into some technical difficulties. I currently record on my phone, which is 3 years old, and I love it, and it's starting to give me fits. It's been doing that a few months, and I've tried to clean different things up, but honestly it's just time for a software update. I need to take it in and have the memory saved and cleaned up and given an actual software update other than the ones that they send you, because I'm really, really sure that they send it to you to mess up your phone and take up your memory. So I don't know what it's doing. So I will bid you guys farewell. If you like what we're doing, go ahead and hit like. If you want to follow along, hit subscribe. And we're a small channel, so the best thing you can do to help us out if you really like us is to share on your social media. Thank you for watching. God bless.